Hello all, Accionoctem here with another look at Skyrim. We're taking a look today at the Highgate Ruins. This dungeon is positioned right between Solitude and Dawnstar, and we'll go ahead and get started here. As you can see, if you're just running around in the area trying to pinpoint it, it's kind of up on a cliff here, very snow-covered area. Okay, here we go. This is definitely a dungeon that you guys should check out. It does have a dragon word at the very end, and it kind of has an interesting story along with it. Which a lot of the dungeons in the game are kind of on the bland side. There's really nothing super special in them. This one does have a little bit of a side quest in it. And you can get that side quest from the NPC up here. Just gonna go ahead and talk to her.
I'm Anska. Are you here to help? I've finally located Voken's crypt. The scroll I'm looking for just has to be here. Maybe you could help find it. I just know it's in here. It's probably meaningless to you, but according to family legend, it links our bloodline back to Iskramor himself. Some old priest buried here long ago. I've been searching for his tomb for a few years now. If Vokun is as powerful as I think, I may need a little help dealing with him. You can have anything, except the scroll, of course. Great. With the two of us, this should be easy.
Alright, so we need to help this woman retrieve a scroll from a dead priest. As you can see, it looks like she's been doing some fighting of her own so far. I do have to say, and you'll notice it later on in the video, that she actually is a very strong NPC. She's a little bit overpowered for this particular dungeon, at least at the time that I did it. There are several times where she pretty much just one-shots the mobs. Here you see we have a restless dragor. Not entirely sure how to pronounce that. I'm sure it is based upon a Nordic language, since this entire game is fairly Nordic in nature. There's really not any fantastic loot in this room. I just always have a habit of checking everything just to make sure. I'm one of those people where I have to open every container in the game. These guys are, well, they take a lot of damage, but they really don't hit that hard. You'll see in this particular video, I am playing as a spell sword type character. In the previous videos you've seen, if you've seen my channel before, I usually stick to a sword and board kind of character. I've always wanted to try the magic out in Oblivion and Morrowind, but I felt like the system was a little clunky, especially considering I played the first two games on a console. It was a hassle to try to do anything with the magic system. So I'm really happy with the changes that they've made in Skyrim. It's a much smoother system. I love being able to have fire in one hand and a sword in the other. It feels pretty badass. I like the synergy between being able to have the fire that causes a dot on the mob and being able just to really take them down very quickly once they get into melee range. And the fire spell does have a little bit of range on it, but it's not a whole lot. I would not consider this character to be a viable ranged character at all. Now you're going to want to be careful when you're going through this dungeon. There are several traps, and I will point out a big section of them later on. There are a fair number of NPCs in here as well. If you were with me for the Ember Shard Mine video, you know that it was a little bit lacking in terms of enemy NPCs. This dungeon, however, has its fair share. You'll get a lot of combat if you venture in after this Dragon Ward. Go, very nice finishing combo there, just sent him flying. You'll notice that I've sped up parts of the video. You're really not missing anything, and as you can see there's a trap on the floor you want to avoid. That particular trap would spring that spiked door, it's going to hit you in the face and it's going to hurt. But as I was saying, I've sped up parts of this video because it was just sections where I was going through and looting all of the chests and urns and corpses and whatnot in the rooms. And that's, if I didn't find anything interesting, then I didn't see any reason to show it to you. In this room here, you'll notice that we've got a puzzle of sorts. We've got several levers, each with an icon in front. I believe it is the fox, a bird, a whale, and a snake. You'll notice that I pulled the fox lever first. They do have to be pulled in a certain order. And as you can see, they give you the clues up along the ceiling. I actually discovered the order of this particular puzzle by chance. I wasn't really paying much attention when I came in. I just went straight for that lever and pulled it. It just happened to be the first lever I needed to pull to begin with. And there we go. I just skipped some looting, nothing big. As you can see, I pulled the bird level second. And I believe now I will go over to the fish. So that was fox, bird, fish, and I should go down and grab that snake.
Maybe the order has something to do with the symbols up there.
I do go at this point and double check the fox lever, as I really wasn't sure what I was doing when I first got in here. But the order is fox, bird, fish, and then snake. And as you can see, it opens up that chamber to drop down into. And we'll head on in here. There's a potion on that little table there. It's always a good thing to grab. Go ahead and open up into the catacombs. Here we go. Now anytime, from what I've learned so far, anytime you see a corpse-looking guy standing into an enclave like that against the wall, he's always going to be alive. He usually activates when you walk past him. So just go ahead, go up, hit him with your sword or your spell, or your arrow, or whatever you happen to be using, and just go ahead and pull him out. Nobody likes to be ambushed from behind, so it's best just to get it out of the way while you know where he's at. So always keep an eye out for that. You'll also find some hidden in the little catacomb grave type areas there. The actual skeletons, I've not seen them activate, so I really wouldn't worry too much about them. It's just the guys that look like they're wearing armor. And there's another one straight in front of us. Oh, we got two. That was what I was talking about the NPC that you're supposed to be helping. She just one-shot both of those guys with some lightning spell. She really doesn't seem to need our help at all. But for whatever reason, she was afraid to venture in here alone, I guess. And there's another trap. You want to be careful of that stone. She manages to not trigger it, but the enemy does, and as you can see, it is shooting arrows out. Somehow, I managed to not get hit here, and I'm not really sure how that happened. Just go ahead and sneak around there. And grab a couple potions. Even if you aren't going to use them, I would recommend picking them up. They sell for quite a nice bit of change. They definitely made the magic system much more user-friendly in Skyrim. I always felt like I was constantly fighting with it in Oblivion and Morrowind. Anytime you wanted to change a spell, you had to go through a whole series of menus, and it was just not really worth it to me. I like the faster gameplay. As you can see there, I picked up a soul stone, and it activated these two NPCs. They came out of their, I guess you can call that a coffin. Just gonna head over to the left side of that room, and there's a locked door. It's very easy to open. And inside you'll find a chest. Nothing really fancy in it. And nothing really in the urn either. But there was an elven sword here, which is better than the sword that I currently have equipped, so I do switch out to it. It's a very gold, shiny sword.
Be careful. These wall parts. We must.
And this is the hallway I was talking about earlier. There are a ton of traps in here, a ton of pressure plates. You really want to be careful where you step, and just keep an eye out. As you saw when I first stepped in here, it activates spears that shoot up through the floor. They do hurt, so just watch where you're going, keep an eye on the floor. Now you're coming into a room with a lever in the middle. There we go. You just want to pull that. It's going to release the right-hand door first, which has an overlord hiding in it. Just dispatches him pretty quickly. He does have his own dragon shout, but as you saw, the NPC took care of him pretty quickly. And inside his chamber, you'll find another lever, which, when you pull it, you guessed it, it opens the left door, which has another enemy in it. Here you see he performed a maneuver that disarmed me, so I am left with my fist and my fire. Dispatches him quickly. I actually did equip the wrong sword at this point. I didn't realize it until later that I pulled up a sword that had less damage than the elven one. But you do want to pull the lever that was in that room, and it opens up the door so you can move on. There's a couple potions stored here, some equipment that may or may not be better than what you're wearing. Just check it out for yourself. And then you're going to move on and start heading towards the throne room. Once again, just grabbing a couple potions. There's nothing exciting in the urns. Okay. And you're going to find the final boss in here. He is a little bit of a pain to fight. He is a ranged character. He hits with a pretty painful fireball. If you are a ranged character, it is pretty easy to stay out of this guy's line of sight. Use the columns in this room to your advantage. However, I don't do a whole lot of damage as a ranged character. I need to be in melee range. So that made this fight pretty difficult. As you see, I'm going to go through a ton of healing potions. It's pretty easy to dodge his fireball if you are fairly far away from him, but once you get into melee range, he's just going to keep smacking you in the face with it. It's very hard to dodge. The NPC will help you, but she doesn't seem to hit near as hard on this guy as she did on the other NPCs. This guy might just have that much health, I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm gonna go through a ton of healing potions. I used a health regeneration potion during this fight, an increased armor potion. I really had a tough time with him. I believe he also is using the same character model as the dragon gods in the game, or dragon lords. I'm not sure if he is considered to be a dragon lord or not. I did not look that up. She referred to him as a priest, though he doesn't really look very priestly anymore. So there's going to be a lot of fire flying around in this fight. If you happen to have a potion that makes you more resistant to it, I would recommend using it. As you can see, it's just a lot of back and forth for me. I had a hard time staying within range of this guy. He moves non-stop. He's doing a pretty decent job of kiting me. I attempted to use my Dragon Shout on him. It didn't really seem to have much of an effect. I don't know if maybe I wasn't close enough when I used it, but it did not have the effect that I was hoping it would. Towards the last few percentages of his health, he seemed to just stand there. He didn't really run anymore. He does not drop any loot. I did check out and opened up all of the containers in that room. There really wasn't anything noteworthy. So you move on into the next room that opens up after you defeat him.
Let's move on. The scroll must be in the next.
There's a really good shield there. Of course, I find it on the character that isn't using a shield. But I go ahead and I picked it up anyway. It sells for quite a lot. There's really nothing else noteworthy in there. Just a lot of urns to go through, picking up some spare coin. Down here is where the dragon word is. You'll learn it is the word storm for the spell Storm Call. I did not go ahead and use it as I didn't have any extra dragon souls on me at the time, so I don't know what the spell looks like or what it does, but it sounds like it should be a pretty decent spell. You picked up the scroll there. You could have talked to the NPC immediately after picking up the scroll. At the time of the video, I wasn't really paying much attention. I didn't realize I had already completed the objective, so there we go.
Careful with that fire. I cannot thank you enough for all of the help. And here's a little something for helping me out.
And you give it to her, it completes. She gives you a spell to conjure a flame familiar. And it drops you right out close to the exit of the dungeon, which is another feature that I love about Skyrim. You never really have to backtrack through. So I'm just going to ask you to remember that if you found this video helpful or you just enjoyed watching, to please remember to like and subscribe to my channel. There will be many more to come. So thank you for watching.